everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Shop Adventures, my weekly excursion where I leave the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ and search my bounty of comics, graphic novels, action figures, collectibles, and all things in between. First thing is first, however, time to talk about, turn to a Canadian there, shout out Easy. Time to talk about what stood out from last week's bounty, and to be honest, Dead Man Logan was the best book of the week. Just had some good action, just a really, really touching sequence towards the end of it, and then a potentially heartbreaking cliffhanger right there towards or right at the very end of the book to continue the story. So that's definitely my number one. Savage Avengers was number two. I really like what Jay Dugan's doing with this motley crew of darker and a little bit more rugged characters in the Marvel Universe. Just a good book, maybe not like fantastic and life-changing, but I really like what he's doing, and I really like where I think the direction the story's going. So really, really a fan of Savage Avengers right now, and I enjoy Justice League. I thought it was a good first part to this whole new year of the villain that they're starting in the DC universe. I hope that I don't have to buy, or they don't expect me, I should say, to buy a whole lot of books that I am not currently reading in order to follow this, and I hope it's just kind of an overarching story, but you can kind of get the meat and potatoes out of it in one of the books I'm reading. But, I enjoy what they're doing with Martian Manhunter. I think that's an underrated character that I've always kind of enjoyed since I was a kid and started reading more since JLA book. And yeah, I really enjoyed the first part of it. It wasn't great, but it was still very, very good, and it laid the groundwork to what could be a very, very well written story. So looking forward to that, and yeah, that's pretty much everything that stood out from last week's bounty. I will see you guys when we get back here at the homestead with this week's bounty. Hey everyone, I am back here at the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ. Got one of my bigger bounties of comics that I've had in a little bit of time, so let's get it started. The first book, we have Avengers number 21, and the War of the Realms is over, so I'll be doing a little bit more than just skimming and admiring artwork and pretty pictures in this one. Looking forward to jumping back into this book. It's not that the other books were bad per se, but when you're not reading the tie-in book attached to it, well, it kind of isn't really something that's easy for you to follow. So, hopefully I'll be able to understand where the Avengers are going and continue reading an awesome book. And on the same token as that, we have Thor number 15, also by Jason Aaron. And same logic applies as the Avengers. Now that the War of the Realms is done, I'm ready to jump back into Thor. Jason Aaron's a great Thor writer, both the male and the female versions of Thor. He's written those both exceptionally well. And now that the War of the Realms is over, and now that I can probably better understand at least where they're going a little bit more, I'm looking forward to more than just looking at pretty pictures when it comes to the Thor book. So, Thor number 15. From there, we go to the world of DC with Event Leviathan number 2. I thought the first issue of this was really good, and it's just kind of, with Clark Kent being held like hostage, and it's just, the dark secrets of all these different heroes, and it's a mystery book, and as we learned from other event books in the past, a strong number one does not mean that the rest of the event will be good. Looking no further than Heroes in Crisis, but what I'm really looking forward to is to see how Brian Michael Bendis, and I've probably said this on several other adventures, how is he going to write and find the voices of other DC characters? He's got Superman down pat. There's been times where Superman's had interactions with other DC heroes within the Superman book from like, I don't know if Batman would say that, or Batman would be like that, or I don't know if Flash would be like that, or what have you. And to me, this will be the sign if this will be the book that could tell us, can Bendis write these other characters and write them in a way that doesn't feel way too off. I'm all about a writer adding his voice and his own spin to a character. You know, that's artistic freedom. But you can't completely go against what the character is like to add that spin. I feel like Bendis was kind of doing that just a little bit with the other DC heroes. And we'll see if he continues to do that. But I did enjoy book 1, and here's book 2. And from there we go to Batman number 74, Father versus Son in the Desert. The weird Bane story. It's been okay, you know, for all the flack I give Tom King. It's been an alright story. It's been kind of a little hard to follow at times, but still a good story. We'll see the alternate universe Batman, where it's Thomas Wayne versus Bruce Wayne. And yeah, be interesting to see how this story concludes. Hopefully it concludes well, because Tom King has unfortunately made it so the books don't always, or these story arcs don't always conclude on in the best possible way, like the Batman Catwoman wedding. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we'll see how it works. We'll see how Tom King ends this one. Batman number 74. And in a strange turn of events, or I don't know if turn of events is the right phrasing for it, but we have Detective Comics number 1007. Yes, both Batman and Batman Detective Comics coming out in the same week. I really liked the first issue of the story arc with the Spectre and with the fallen cop, and just I was a little confused, but I was intrigued because I had so many. There's two different ways of being like confused and puzzled in comics. There's, I don't understand this, I don't get it, I can't follow this, and then there's confused, like, whoa, what's that? What's that? There's an intrigued confused, and then there's a I don't like this story confused. And I was intrigued confused at the end of the previous issue of Detective Comics. So very much looking forward to seeing how this continues. Pierre Tomasi doing a fantastic job on Detective, and yeah, let's see how what the Spectre wants with Gotham City. Detective Comics number 1007. And from there, we go to The Flash. Number 74, The Flash Year 1 continues. Barry, young, new Flash Barry has met his future self. And the shit is going to hit the fan. And I am looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to reading it. Just, you know, really, it may not be as good as, like, Batman Year 1. I mean, rarely is anything that good. But still, this is a very, very well-told, good origin story that could potentially be considered one of the best origin stories to be told. And I've loved it so far. An underrated book that I, said it ever since I started the adventure. One of the more underrated books in comics that people should be reading more and should be talking about more. So I will do my part to praise this book. The Flash, number 74. And from there, we go to Hawkman number 14. It is a Year of the Villain tie-in. And the beginning of a new story arc. And yeah, we'll just see what happens there. I'm still kind of on the fence about Hawkman. Not that it's been a bad book, but it's just kind of been one that hasn't really been gripping me as much. It's staved off being cut. Hence why I have this new one. So we'll see what happens with this Year of the Villain tie-in. Hawkman number 14. And finally, to round out the bounty, it's sharing a bag and board because it's easier to store since I'm not reading the other book. I have Superman number 13 and Supergirl number 32. This is the last two parts of this crossover book. Yeah, it's also a Year of the Villain tie-in. I kind of enjoyed, but was a little confused with Supergirl because I'm not reading it, but it did it did make sense since it was part of the a continuation of the same story. Honestly, I compare it to when they do the big DC CW crossovers, the 4-night events and what have you. When I watch Supergirl, since I'm not watching that current season of Supergirl, I was behind on it. I still am very behind on it. When I watch the show, I'm confused about everything going on until the people that I know of from Arrow and Flash and Legends, when they show up, I'm kind of like, okay, we're on the same page. But until that happens, I'm just kind of like, I'm lost. I'm lost. And that's kind of the vibe, ironically, with Supergirl that I got. Reading that book, I was kind of like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Okay, here's the Superman, and here's everything going on. All right, we're caught up now. Everything's good. They're tying into Year of the Villain. I'm interested to see what happens with that, and see how they conclude this little bit easier to handle crossover, because it's only one other book. And yeah, we'll go from there. Superman 13, Supergirl 32. And I decided to save the bag and board because they're both part of the same story arc, so they'll store better just being in the same bag and board. And yeah. That is pretty much it for me this week. Let me know what you got at your local comic shop in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share. If you'd like to see more videos like it, please subscribe. I have content not just from the world of comic books, from the world of gaming, pro wrestling, and all things geek culture. Be sure to go like my Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89 for more content, including my collection comic of the week every Thursday that is exclusive to my Facebook page. But other than that, I'm out. Y'all be cool. Later.